Welcome to Bolts Breakdown. This is a podcast for Tampa Bay Lightning fans. It is by Tampa Bay Lightning fans. My name is Boomer,
My name is Tommy.
and today is an off-season moves reaction podcast. So there has been a ton of news since our last episode, and we're going to walk through it. We're going to talk about it all, and then we are going to play a game about the current Tampa Bay Lightning roster, kind of testing your knowledge about certain players, but we'll get to that in the end. Tommy, I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear how you're processing all this because there's been a lot of change in the Lightning roster. Namely, since the last time we talked, Darren Raddysh, our undrafted specialty power play defenseman, is gone. And not only is he gone, he is now a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs. For those that don't know, Darren Raddysh was part of a sign-in trade right before free agency started, and since Julien Brisebois on the Lightning couldn't agree to terms with Darren Raddysh, the Maple Leafs signed him to an 8-year, $8.5 million contract, and in return, the Lightning got a fifth-round pick. That seems very little for Darren Raddysh, but it's the fifth-round pick basically bought the Maple Leafs 3 days ahead of free agency to negotiate with Raddysh, who, hindsight, we know he wanted to go to Toronto anyways, so we got a fifth-round pick out of the deal. Darren Raddysh gets a huge contract after one great season. And now 4 times a year, the Lightning will be facing the bald eagle instead of having him on our team. So, Tommy, are you sad? I mean, obviously you're sad, but what are your thoughts about Darren Raddysh no longer being on the Lightning, but also being on our arch rival, the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination of happy for him because, like, he kind of grew up in our system, I guess, right? In the past couple of years, he's, been growing as a player. And then this year, of course, was his big breakout year. And so I'm happy for him. I mean, he's securing the rest of his, or at least a big chunk of his career in Toronto, where he's from Ontario. And I think he's from Toronto. And so, like, just really securing his career is happy for him, but also just sad for us that, oh no, we need to beef up our penalty kill then, because if we're going to have to face Darren Raddysh at the top of the circles, that's going to be a concern for us. So I'm a little bit worried about that. But I think we're up to the challenge, and it'll be interesting to see him a few times a year. It'll just be weird to see him in a Maple Leafs jersey. Like,
I know, like the worst. So weird. I hate the Maple Leafs. It's probably the Panthers and then the Maple Leafs. And is that consensus for you too, or?
Nah, I don't know if I hate the Maple Leafs as much as I think I don't like the Panthers. I never really liked the Bruins.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm never really a big Bruins fan, but the Maple Leafs, they're easy to hate, I feel like, for everybody, and nobody likes their fan base either. It seems like that's a consensus around the league of, like, what's the worst fan base, and it seems to come back to, like, Toronto or Vegas, that kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know. It's just gonna be weird to see him in that, and it is what it is. It's the weird part for me too, is that it's not just him. It's also Nick Paul, who's been on our team for a little while, who's also going over to the Maple Leafs. And this is the time of year where the moves are being made.
Yeah, I don't get it. Julien Brisebois, his favorite trade partner is the Maple Leafs this year, I guess. And I know the Maple Leafs have a new GM. And so maybe that's part of it. And Julien Brisebois is like, all right, I'll take advantage of this new inexperienced GM. But both our players, Darren Raddysh and Nick Paul, who I obviously love, I'm sure you love, all of Bolts Nation loves, are now on our arch enemies. And it, like you said, like, it's going to be weird. I like to say that they're just undercover agents now, and we just send them over there, and then they'll kind of coast and not put up too many points against us. And then they're basically helping the Lightning, right? They're dragging the Maple Leafs down. Especially Raddysh, who is on that massive contract. Now they can't sign any other big dogs because Raddysh is eating up all the money.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's going to be what it is. I'm interested to see if he has a similar season or not, though. I don't know as much about the Maple Leafs, their setup, their structure, their power play, their all that kind of stuff. But I do know that we're going to miss him, and that we need to at least replace him with multiple players, or maybe with one, which I guess we'll talk about.
Right. Yep. So to cover that Nick Paul part of it, Nick Paul was moved to Toronto in a trade. So in exchange for Nick Paul, we got a 3rd-round draft pick, a 4th-round draft pick, and goaltender Dennis Hildeby. drafted in 22, 122nd overall. But as you can see, he's 6'7", right? That's like a massive goaltender, 230 pounds. He's 24 years old, which is the crazy part about the trade. So Nick Paul, he's 31, I believe, off the top of my head, but he goes to Toronto, and we get this young goalie who's massive, who's very athletic, and a couple draft picks. And you know how we like third and fourth round draft picks, right? Like Braden Point, I mean, Anthony Cirelli, Nikita Kucherov, like all these guys. Kucherov was a second round draft pick, but all these guys have been third or fourth round picks, right? And so now we get two basically new players and Dennis Hildeby, who's Julian Breesborough has said he's going to be our backup goaltender for the season. But the chance to learn under Vasi, and with his size and what he's already proven in the NHL, I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is optimism, but what if Dennis Hildeby is like the stopgap after Vasi's done between our next Vasi, you know? So,
I mean, he's young enough, right? So he's 24, which is pretty significant. I know that it's been interesting because from what I know about Toronto, right, they had the first round or the first overall pick in the draft, right?
Right. Gavin McKenna.
And, which says that they're bad. You know, I mean, that's pretty much what that means. And so they're rebuilding. And so we're just going to get the pieces that they're not rebuilding with, right? And so those could be really some valuable pieces. We know Vasilevsky is an elite goaltender, but nobody's infinite, right? And so he's going to reach a point where he's going to either peter out or he's just going to be like done and retire. And so maybe that's in 3 years, maybe that's in 5 years. I don't know, but at some point, yes. And so having a young guy like this learning under him and getting some starts too. We need somebody to take some starts too, because Vasilevsky, I don't think can handle like 60 starts. Like,
yeah, I mean, he started.
I don't know if anybody should, but yeah,
he starts so many, and I know Vasi Cooper has talked about how he wants to do that, but
yeah,
you're right. I mean, as he ages, he's not going to be able to start 60 games a year. You know, he started 58 last year. Vasi did, but I'm excited, like you said, because I'm just hopeful that Dennis Hildeby turns into something great. And even if he doesn't, you know, I don't know if you remember this, but last season we played the Toronto Maple Leafs and they shut us out. And the goaltender was none other than Dennis Hildeby. He had 29 saves against us and shut us out, and now he's a member of our team. And Julian Breesborough talked about it. He's like, we weren't going to like upgrade our backup goalie position. Like, it's not something they came into offseason willing to do. But when Toronto called and said, hey, Dennis Hildeby is available, Julian Breesborough was like, all right, we're taking a swing at this guy because the pedigree, he has good numbers so far, and he won the Calder Cup, which is the AHL championship. So he's a proven winner. He can shut the Lightning out, and he's young. So it's like there's no risk really with it. The only sad part is we lose Nick Paul in the process.
Yeah, I know that's sad, but Nick Paul's also a what would you call it? I don't know why I'm thinking like position player, but like he's like he's gonna fill a gap, right? He's gonna play a role. He's a role player, and so we need those, but also we need some really, really just healthy, good backup goalies too to help Vasilevsky when he's injured or when he needs some help. And I know that I think we drafted a goalie, did we not?
We did, yep. So let's cover all the free agency news and then we'll get to the draft. But I'm really excited about the guy we drafted too. So yeah, his name's Stepan Shurigin. He's hard to say, but we'll get to it. Always. You mentioned, Tommy, that we need to bolster our penalty kill because now we're going to be facing Darren Raddysh. Mm-hmm. And that brings me to another player that we signed, and his name is Ilya Mikeyev. So I think he was actually the first player signed in the NHL during this free agency period. I don't know about that, but he's definitely the first Lightning player, and he was very early on in the day. So maybe another player was signed before him. But Ilya Mikeyev, regardless of when he was signed, is coming to the Bolts on a 4-year, almost $4 million contract, and he's coming from the Blackhawks, right? This is a guy who I saw an ESPN clip, and the analyst, I forget which analyst it was, but he called him a top 5 penalty killer in the NHL. Like, that's the pedigree of Ilya Mikeyev, and he's also incredibly fast, like insanely fast. He had his fastest burst last season was 23.54 miles per hour, and only one Lightning player, the entire season, had a faster burst, and it wasn't Braden Point.
Wow.
It was Dominic James. So
Okay.
Ilya Mikeyev will not only bolster our penalty kill as we play Darren Raddysh, but he also brings a lot of much needed speed. So you think about Nick Paul, he's kind of slower, tougher role player. He's out, and Ilya Mikeyev comes in. He can't really win faceoffs like Nick Paul can, but he's much faster. He can play the penalty kill. Same age as Nick Paul. So I think it's a good signing. Do you know anything about Mikeyev? Have you ever watched him? Or
No.
his profile
No.
excite you at all?
I actually don't really know much about him. I mean, I've probably heard the name, it sounds familiar. It sounds like a Russian from the Blackhawks kind of thing. It's
He is
interesting because I
Russian.
feel like we do get guys from some specific teams, right? And when we go to those teams to sort of farm players, because a lot of players are coming up in our system, and the ones that don't seem to come from very specific systems. And
Right.
Toronto, I guess this year for some reason, Chicago, I mean, that's where Brandon Hagel came from, right?
Right.
And so I do think that's interesting. I also think that historically, Russian players seem to do really well on the Lightning. I mean, if we're really
Is
thinking
there a
about it,
reason you can think of for that?
I don't know, but the guys that I'm thinking who've come through, right? You got Sergachev, you got Vasilevsky, you got Kucherov, you got Nemestikov who came through.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
sure there's so many more that I just can't think of right now, but I don't know why they seem to do well, and they seem to kind of have their cohort. So I wonder how Mikheyev will fit into not only the Lightning, but also the penalty killers, but also the other Russians.
Right.
So that seems to be a camaraderie as well, just like Brandon Hagel fit in with Sorelli and Point, the other Canadian boys.
Right. It's funny. I mean, I'm excited. I don't know if it's got to be intentional. Everything Julian Breezeball has done is intentional. But like we drafted some Russians this year. We brought in Mikeyev. I don't know if maybe Cooch was like, "Hey, I'm getting kind of lonely. Like, bring some more of my people," or what. But I'm excited about Mikeyev. I think there's untapped potential there, which we know Julian Breezeball loves to do. He loves to bring in people like Dominic James, who, hey, this could be a player. We're going to see what he can do, and then watch him blossom into much better players than people expected. So that's my hope for Mikeyev. Who knows? I mean, he is a depth forward. There's a reason he makes less than $4 million, right? He scored 18 goals, 18 assists on the Blackhawks last year, which, I mean, if you're almost a 20-goal scorer on the Blackhawks, like, the guy can put the puck in the net. And he's pretty fun to watch. I mean, I watched some of his highlights, so I'm excited about Mikeyev. But
Yeah,
go ahead, Tommy.
I was gonna say he's gonna be good third liner, right? I feel like our
Right.
third line is just really where those guys who disrupt, right? Whether it's the Hounds line or something similar, maybe he can be one of the Hounds. Who knows?
Well, that gets into another discussion. Like we're running out of spots on the lineup, like we got a bunch of forwards. We have 12 forwards, not counting Connor Geeky, Benjamin Rautiainen, Sam O'Reilly, Jacob Peltier. Like, so if any of those young guys from Syracuse want to come up, are we sitting Zimgis Gergensons? Like, are we going to sit Ilya Mikeyev, who we just signed? Like, I don't.
We're gonna see what happens when we get to the season and how people play. We're gonna see. Yeah.
We are going to see. So the last signing, we picked up this guy named Jeffrey Viel from the Anaheim Ducks. Now, this guy, do you know anything about him, Tommy?
No, I don't think I've ever heard of his name.
You are
I
like
also don't
most
watch
people.
the Western Conference much. Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, even if you did, there is like a high likelihood you missed this guy because he's played 99 career NHL games, but he's like had 7 seasons or something in the NHL, like 5 seasons. He doesn't play a lot, right? And his claim to fame was really this past season. He was with Boston to start the season. He was traded to the Ducks, and then all of a sudden in the playoffs, he was the shutdown defensive forward against Connor McDavid. And obviously the Ducks beat the Oilers in the playoffs. And those numbers are absolutely ridiculous when you look at them. Like McDavid had 1 assist while VL was on the ice against him. That's it.
Wow.
And so here's this guy that nobody's really heard of. He's 6'1", 214, and a self-proclaimed fighter. Like that, he loves to fight. He has 21 or 22 NHL fights to his name. And when we interviewed him after signing him, he's like, I know the Atlantic Division, and I'm ready. Basically, like he's gonna go beat up the Panthers for us, right?
Let's go. I'm excited.
And he can shut down McDavid. So I don't know. This guy, he signed to 5 years, which is incredible term for this guy that nobody's heard of, and he makes $2.5 million for each of those 5 years.
Yeah.
So
Wow. I do think that JBB, Julian Brisebois, has something up his sleeve all the time. I'm not sure what it is. I'm like, I don't know what you're crafting here. He was extremely disappointed after our first round exit, but I got the impression that he didn't feel like he did anything wrong. He also didn't feel like anybody else did anything that wrong. And it seemed like Cooper felt the same way. Of course, the fans don't feel the same way, but it seemed like he knows what he's talking about. And of course, you got to make changes and make some adjustments. And so maybe this guy that nobody really heard of, that a standout, he sees a lot of potential in. If he's signing him for 5 years, going into 2032, that's or 2031, 2032, like that's a long time to have a guy like this who maybe could be a staple part of your squad, a fourth liner who shuts people down.
Right, he's a bruiser, and apparently he can shut McDavid down. So
we need that.
This guy I know you're not on Twitter and like the hockey social media stuff, but people have been really puzzled over this signing. Like 5 years is a long, long time to give a fourth liner. And like you said, like I just get the feeling that JBB is doing some wizardry stuff, and this is going to be like the best signing in the world. Like where he's going to play one season, they're going to be like, how did he sign in Tampa for $2.5 million? And we'll see. But I'm really excited for him. If nothing else, he's an upgraded Scott Sabrin, right?
I was thinking that.
Were you?
Yeah, I was like, wow, is this like Scott Sabrin, but like better?
I think so, genuinely. Like I think he has 5 points in his 99 games. Like he's not scoring, but all of a sudden in the playoffs, he had some big goals. And so it's like, I don't know. This guy is really a wild card. Will he be sent to the minors and like that was a waste of money? Maybe. But also may he be like the guy, like the Blake Coleman, the Barclay Goodrow that wins us a championship? Also maybe. So I don't know.
We'll see.
The last signing, also from the Ducks, the biggest signing, we signed John Carlson, basically a direct Darren Raddysh replacement, $8.5 million, just like Darren Raddish's contract. But John Carlson is with us for the next 2 years. He's a right-handed power play quarterback, offensive defenseman who's been doing it for 17 NHL seasons, mostly with the Washington Capitals and the second best Russian in the game, Alex Ovechkin. But now he's with Nikita Kucherov, and he is expected, per John Cooper, Julian Brisebois, to power play quarterback on that number one power play. So this is a really exciting signing. What do you think about the 6'3", 220, 36-year-old defenseman, Tommy?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I know I wasn't sure if they were going to go for like a 1-to-1 replacement of Raddysh because what they were looking for with Raddysh, which he was never going to take, and rightly so, was a 2-year, right? $8 million, whatever. They'd pay him, but not for 8 years. And so that's what John Carlson kind of fits into that mold. I know that Carlson was part of the Washington squad. Was he part of their team when they won the cup?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was.
Okay, that's helpful to remember because I do remember when they won the cup, they were really solid up and down their whole like lineup, and so maybe he's just another piece of the puzzle. It's interesting because there's some guys in our team, we call it our core, which really is just the old guys, like the veterans and the old guys. And so we're bringing in another veteran, but from another perspective, which I think is interesting. We don't have a lot of those, for being honest. We brought in Corey Perry, but he's sort of a wild card who goes from here to here to here versus John Carlson, who I guess more so was established, right, with these teams.
For sure, yeah.
So now we're getting a stable long-term veteran who is not from the Lightning camp and who has not really spent much time in the Lightning camp at all or around our guys. And so I think it'll just bring a different energy. It'll be interesting to see how he fits in because he's not, he's well respected, right? But people don't know him on our squad, right? And so it's going to be interesting to see how he fits in. But yeah, I just want to see a big slap shot at the top, right? And I want to see a guy who can pass, and I want to see Darren Raddysh, to be honest with you. But I think maybe we'll get a version of that with this. So
don't we all? I think you what's the saying? You hit the nail on the head, because it is all about term, right? The rumors was the most the Lightning went to was 6 years, $6 million for Raddysh. And obviously, I mean, he knew he could make more. He wants to go home to Toronto, so I don't blame him for taking the bag that he took from Toronto. But the term was the issue, right? Elliot Freeman, I talk about him a lot. He's like the main insider guy. He said Julian Brisebois and the Lightning just couldn't get to the term Darren Raddysh in his camp wanted, right? Because like you said, I don't know that Raddysh is going to do it again, but Carlson, who's been doing it for 17 years, is a safer bet, and it's the same amount of money, and the leadership component is, I mean, it's a good piece of it. And sure, we have McDonough, sure, we have Hedy, now we have Carlson. Like, that's a lot of 35, 36-year-old defensemen, but we have J.J. Moser, we have Emil Lilleberg, we have Charles Wardestue. Like, we have some guys who can bring the speed on the back end.
Yeah.
The question just is, are these old guys going to get caught flat-footed? I mean, I hope not. Especially with Hedman and Carlson being offensive old guys, like maybe they're a little bit quicker, but that's the worry is the age with these old defensemen. But
I do think that what you mentioned with the other defensemen that we have is it's going to be interesting to see what Cooper does with the pairings, right? Because you got JBB bringing in the players, but then you have John Cooper who makes the decisions on the ice. Who's with who plays with who. He's going to see in camp and practices and preseason what it's going to look like. And so whenever he ends up deciding who's with who, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Because historically, it's been, Raddysh with Moser. So is it just going to be Carlson with Moser? I don't know. Maybe not. And so I'm not sure how Cooper is going to play it out. But again, we're going to see.
We are going to see. It's another one of those interesting things. Like I talked about how there's a kind of log jam at the forward. I think there's a similar log jam on defense. Like, right, you can only start 6 or 7 defensemen a game, and we have really 8 that should be in the lineup every single night if you count Emil Lilleberg, Charles Wardestue, and Max Crozier. So it's like the combination, like how is John Cooper going to mix and match? Is he going to regularly sit Hedy? Like maybe he gives Hedy a break every 10 games, no one has the answers to it, but it is going to be interesting to see. If I had to guess, Tommy, I think you're right. I think Carlson will be with Moser, but I don't know. I haven't really watched Carlson play as closely as I've watched those other guys, so it's tough to say right now.
Yeah,
but
agreed.
Let me, real quickly, Tommy, I just want to talk about some of these guys that we drafted. It's another part of this offseason that we'll talk about. So the first draft pick, drafted 52nd overall, his name's Oleg Kulibyakin. He's a Russian guy, and he grew up literally idolizing Nikita Kucherov. So from Russia, he loves Nikita Kucherov. Now he's drafted by the Lightning, and he met Nikita Kucherov. Like when we did our little Zoom draft pick thing, he had a signed stick by Nikita Kucherov. Like he loves Nikita Kucherov, and his play really resembles Nikita Kucherov too. Development camp was last week, and he is moving down the ice with like vision that you can't even really comprehend sitting in the bleachers, right? And his shot is spectacular, like some of the moves he's doing and the dangles. So he's going to be a cool kid to watch. As with any Russians, and as with any like special skill players, it's kind of hit or miss. It's boom or bust type of deal. But his name's Oleg Kulibyakin, and there's a lot of excitement about him. Some people say it's a steal that we got him at 52nd, and some people say we probably could have drafted him a little bit later. But I mean, I'm excited to see how he does. He's got like the same exact build as Nikita Kucherov too, which is kind of crazy. He's a left-handed shot from Russia.
Hey, a lot of similarities, and it can't hurt, right? It can't hurt.
It can't hurt. But we talked about Julian Brisebois adding the Russians. There's another one for you.
Maybe.
The next pick is Thomas Kralovich, I think is how you say it, Kralovich. This is a big right-handed shot defenseman, and this is the only draft pick of the 6 that we had in the draft to already sign his entry-level contract. So next year he's probably playing in the minors with Syracuse Crunch. It was kind of cool. After development camp, Julian Brisebois came on the ice and had him sign it like in front of all the other prospects, in front of all the fans. So cool moment for him. I compare this guy to Eric Chernak, right? They're both from Slovakia. They're both big, physical defensemen. The only difference with Kralovich is he's a lot better skater than Chernak, and he moves the puck a lot better. So think like Victor Hedman, offensive abilities, but he's from Slovakia and has a similar build and is a right-hand shot like Cernak. So
Yeah.
who knows? I mean, all these guys are hit or miss, but I like to just kind of walk through them and give some like a current Lightning comparison so that we can kind of picture who we're getting.
Yeah, I think too, one thing I've heard is that skating is becoming such a big part of the game that, like, if you're not a good skater, you don't really go far. Like, you used to be able to not be as good of a skater and just kind of play around and be good with your body and, you know, be a bruiser or something like that. But it's coming to the point. I just heard this on, was it a podcast or like on some analysis of everybody's such a good skater that what's going to set you apart is yes, if you're physical, or yes, if you score goals, or yes, if you're like a really good role player, a penalty killer, but also if you're a good skater or not. And so it's great to hear that we have a guy like that who is such a good skater, who was so good apparently that he signed his contract to start with us. So
right.
I'd
I'd like the thought process for sure, and we'll see. I mean, he's a good skater playing against younger kids, right? So we'll see how he develops in the AHL, how he plays professionally, but it's not like he's a Lane Hudson or a Victor Hedman. Like, I don't want to set the bars too high. He's just a much better skater than Erik Cernak. So
yeah.
Our third pick, though, is named Morgan Anderberg. We selected him 134th overall. He's a forward. He plays in Sweden, and he's 18 years old. So that's kind of the draw to this guy, is to play professional hockey in Sweden, like to actually earn minutes. You have to be pretty good at hockey. Like, this guy isn't flashy, but he's a defensive, like, smart hockey player. And our scout, John Rosso, his big thing about this guy was actually like, hey, I don't like his skill set, his fundamentals, they're whatever, but if his coach is trusting him in the SHL, the Sweden Hockey League, like, he has to be pretty good. And he said he was really solid defensively when we watched him. So that's what this guy kind of brings. I compared him to Pontus Holmberg, right? Somebody who can hound the puck, somebody who's smart with the puck, somebody who can get in on the forecheck, steal the puck, things like that. But he's young, so this isn't somebody we're going to see like next year or anything, but he's an interesting player to watch.
Yeah, be interesting.
The next one we drafted, his name's Cooper Soller. This guy is sneaky my favorite pick of the draft. He was selected 154th overall. He's 17. And the fun part about Cooper Soller is he won Rookie of the Year in the USHL, which it's a development league for like 16 to 20-year-olds, like before college, before pro. But the fun part about that is some other players in the NHL to win this award, Rookie of the Year in the USHL, are players like Macklin Celebrini or Andrei Svechnikov or Jake Gensel. So some high-level talent, like, have won this award, and Cooper Soller did it at 17 years old. So tons and tons of time left for him to grow, and he's got to obviously take huge steps to become Jake Gensel or Macklin Celebrini, but he's intriguing to me, and he looked really good at development camp. So
there you go. That's helpful to hear these names too. You talk about winning these awards. Like, I think Charles Wardestou was one of those players who won like MVP or some award in every single league he was in, right?
Yep.
And so I think it says a lot when you're winning awards in whatever league you're in, because that's going to speak a lot to what you're going to do moving forward. So
right, absolutely. And then the next pick, 186 overall. This is our goalie that you were talking about, Stepan Shurigin. He's a goalie, 6'4", 201 pounds. He catches left-handed. He's from Russia. When I talk about a 6'4" Russian goaltender who catches left-handed, every Lightning fan's mind goes to Andrei Vasilevsky, which mine does too. I mean, that's the draw to this guy. It's like, is he the next Vasi? Probably not. You know, like, Vasi at this age had much better numbers than this guy does, but this guy is known for his athleticism. Like, that was the draw that our scouting staff talked about. They said he is incredibly athletic and he can recover really well. So if we can teach him the positioning so that he doesn't have to recover as often, maybe he'll grow into somebody we can really trust. But he's an interesting one. And yet again, another Russian, as we've been talking about. So
yes.
Final pick of the draft, another defenseman. He's a left-handed defenseman. His name's Max Villain. Him and Kralovich, who we talked about earlier, the second pick, they're the two old guys from the draft. So I honestly expect Max Villain to also sign his entry-level contract, probably play with the Syracuse Crunch here shortly. But he is 6'3", almost 200 pounds, 20-year-old, and he's from Sweden as well. So a lot of European, Russian players from the draft this year, but they're exciting prospects.
So I feel like even just thinking that and seeing those guys, you don't know much about them, right? You don't even really hear about them, and it might not be years before you do. But if we talked about this 5 years from now, even 10 years from now, think about the guys who are playing right now, who are such staples on the Lightning. They're like what in their late 20s,
Right.
most of them, right?
Yes.
And so these guys who are 18, 19, 20, like 10 years is what it would be from now until them actually being the Anthony Cirellis and the Braden Points of the league. And so it's just really interesting because this stuff is so long term that we're not going to see it for a while. But it's interesting to hear their names and to see. Maybe you'll be up there on the board at benchmark. Maybe not. Maybe you'll just be on the Orlando Solar Bears for much of your career, but you just don't know. Right. So it's interesting to talk about.
You never know. And again, Bolts Breakdown is here to help you follow these people because, I mean, before I started Bolts Breakdown, like, it was really hard to follow these random prospects, right? They play in Sweden. Like, how am I supposed to watch Swedish hockey, But that's kind of the idea with Bolts Breakdown is if you don't know where to follow these guys, like, you follow me, I'm going to keep posting about their stats. I'll keep telling you about it. If Cooper Soller wins another award this year, I'll let you know. So that's kind of the idea. They're not super important right now. If you're just a fan of Lightning, like, you can kind of check out, no, we drafted some Russians and a really young rookie of the year. And we'll tell you as they continue to develop if they're going to be the next Nikita Kucherov or Braden Point or what have you.
Definitely.
So, Tommy, a lot of new players, a lot of prospects, a lot of free agents, a lot of trades. We're going to kind of transition into a game about current Lightning players.
Okay.
So players currently on the roster. And
Yep.
So some of the fans out there, Tommy, I don't know if you know this, but Jonas Johansson, backup goalie, he's still on the roster as of now. Julian Breezeball has said we're going to trade him, so that's probably to come. But for the purpose of this game, he's still on the roster. So current roster players, including Ilya Mikeyev, John Carlson, Jeffrey Viel, Dennis Hildeby, the new guys we just signed. But I'm going to ask you questions about 4 of them. So I'm going to give you 4 players, and I want you to tell me what they have in common. It can either be draft round, nationality, their handedness, so whether they shoot left-handed, catch left-handed if they're a goalie, or their birth year.
Okay.
So that's the game. You're going to have to tell me what these 4 people have in common. There's 10 sets of 4, right? So the max points you can get is 10. If you think there's 2, like one of these sets of 4 have 2 possible commonalities, then you can just give me either or, and you still get a point for that set. Does that make sense? So you don't have to get both if there's 2. If you get 1, that counts as a point.
Yeah, as a point. Okay. So
all right, let's begin. So your first set is Ryan McDonough, Dominic James, Jake Gensel, and newly acquired John Carlson. That's who's in the bottom right down there.
Okay. And so we're wondering if they have birth year, nationality, handedness, or draft round in common.
Right.
Okay. So first of all, it's not a handedness because John Carlson is a right-hander and Jake Gensel is left. So I know that for sure. Birth year can't be. Dominic James and John Carlson are not near each other at all.
All right.
So that's not true either. Draft round, now that's tricky because that could be anybody, right, of having the same draft round. However, for this one, nationality feels like it might be the one, except I don't know everybody's nationality like the back of my hand. So my brain is like, is Ryan McDonough American? Is Dominic James American? Because I know Jake Gensel's American, and I'm pretty sure John Carlson is American. So now I'm struggling with that. But I think if I was to take my best guess, I would have to say nationality for number 1.
Bingo.
All right.
1 point, Tommy.
1 point. 1
so
point.
Everyone playing at home, keep track of your points. See if you can beat Tommy. Tommy's got 1 point. It is nationality. It's not draft round, but that one was slightly easier than all the other ones. I wanted to give you one to start off on the right foot. So let's move into the second one. This is J.J. Moser, Ilya Mikeyev, newly signed free agent, Nikita Kucherov, and Andrei Vasilevsky. Is their birth year the same? Is their nationality the same? Do they have the same handedness, or were they all drafted in the same round?
I don't think it was birth year. Don't think it's definitely not nationality for sure, 100%. Handedness. See, you almost had me with nationality, but you got JJ Moser in there, so
there you go.
You kind of messed up that one. Draft round or handedness. Now, left. Oh, Vasilevsky. He threw a left hook, so that's got to be left-handedness. I'm going to go handedness for this one.
Bingo, Tommy. 2 for 2.
All right.
2 points.
All right.
They're all left-handed, so that helps you get to know Ilya Mikeyev a little bit better. Nice catch on the Russian. You got 3 Russians and a Swede.
Yeah. No, he's Swiss.
Oh, Swiss. Sorry, I always say that wrong. That's what I meant, Swiss.
Yeah.
All right. Third one, Connor Geekie, Victor Hedman, John Carlson, and Zemgus Girgensons.
All right. So immediately my brain is like eliminated all of them except draft round. So I'm going to go draft.
Wow. When I made this question, I thought this one would be a little bit harder, but you're right. They're all first round selections, and that is what they have in common. So nice job.
What do you think it was going to make it harder?
I don't know. I thought the handedness might make it harder. I knew nationality was out of the question right away because the first one you would have figured out John Carlson, if you didn't know, is American, and Victor Hedman's not American, right? And they're obviously Victor Hedman's left-handed, John Carlson's right-handed. So I didn't know. I was hoping you would guess handedness, or I'm sorry, I was hoping you'd guess birth year or something like that. But then I threw Connor Geekie in there, which obviously he's not as old as those other 3. So
kind of messed that one up. Okay, so I got 3 points out of 3 so far.
3 for 3. All right. Now you have Scott Sabrin, Charles-Edouard Destoux, Chucky, Yanni Gord, and Jeffrey Viel.
Ooh.
Are they the same age? Are they all from the same place? Do they all shoot the same? Were they all drafted in the same round?
See, this is tricky because earlier you showed me where everybody's from, and you showed me how old VL was, but obviously that's hard to remember because that's not what I was focused on when we were having that conversation.
Tricky.
This is tricky. Now, I'm going to say birth year's not it because I think Chucky is in his 20s, whereas Scott Sabrin is in his 30s. So I'm going to go ahead and say no on that. Draft round is always an option, but it's more of an option of elimination. Birth year, no. Handedness. Oh, gosh. I don't know VL's handedness. I don't know about that. I do think, however, it's nationality because Charles-Edouard Destoux is from Quebec. So is Yanni Gord. He's also from Quebec. And I'm almost positive, actually, now I'm remembering, VL is also from Quebec. So I think they're all Canadian.
Impressive.
I'm going to say nationality.
Impressive. You could have gone draft round or nationality.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, nice job. Nice recall there. They're not all from Quebec. They're all from Canada. And they were all undrafted. So
there you go.
Yeah.
That counts as draft round, I guess. So there you go.
All right, you're 4 for 4. Next question is Pontus Holmberg, Victor Hedman, Dennis Hildeby, Jonas Johansson.
Handedness. Got lefty. You got lefty. You got, I think, a lefty. And I think you have another lefty. So my brain says maybe we're at handedness. Birth year doesn't feel right. Draft round is always a maybe, but we're going to go handedness.
You're saying handedness, and you're right. You could also go nationality. So they're all left-handed. Dennis Hildeby, Pontus Holmberg, Victor Hedman, and Jonas Johansson.
Okay.
So you're 5 for 5.
5 for 5 right now. Okay, I'm doing it.
You've never had a perfect game, Tommy. Let's see if you can keep going.
Whoa! You just messed it up. Don't say anything.
Jake Gensel.
5 for 5. Yep.
Ilya Mikeyev, Zemgus Girgensons, and Andrei Vasilevsky. What do they have in common?
Ooh, birth year, nationality, handedness, draft round. Now, this one gets a little bit tricky because I'm almost sure that this is also handedness because they're not the same nationality, that's for sure. Ilya Mikeyev is left-handed, but so is everybody else. Is Zemgus Girgensons left-handed? That is the question. Can I even remember that? I actually remember a goal that he scored where he came across the crease, and I believe he was on his backhand, so he's also left-handed. So I'm gonna go ahead and say handedness for this one.
Final
And
answer?
final answer, lock it in.
You got it. It's
All
also
right.
birth year, though. They were all born
Wow.
in 1994.
Wow.
Which I don't, to me, that was crazy. Zemgus Girgensons and Jake Gensel, in my head, are not the same age.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't have thought that, but I think it's because Jake Gensel has a baby face, and so I think he looks younger than he is, in my brain at least, versus Zemgus Girgensson looks more like his age.
Right.
I don't know. That's just my head.
All right, you're 6 for 6. Keep
Wow.
it going, Tommy.
Keep it
You got
going.
Braden Point, Eric Chernak, Max Crozier, and Scott Sabrin.
Ooh, now this is tricky. I know it's not handedness, and I know it's not nationality.
Which player gives away the handedness?
Braden Point is a righty, so he gives away the handedness because I know that Chernak is a lefty. Unless I'm tripping right now, and everyone's gonna laugh at me, which is possible. But handedness, no. Oh man, are they all righties? Oh no. No, not handedness, not nationality. Birth year or draft round. I think they're all like, no, they're not all the same year because I think Braden Point's like 30, and I think Chernak is like 28.
28, yep.
He's 28.
Remember, him and Sorelli are like oddly young.
So it's not birth year either, which means it's definitely draft round. Locking in answer, final answer, draft round.
Oh, bummer. I jinxed it. It's handedness. Eric Chernak is right-handed.
Oh no! I see everyone's laughing at me now because I couldn't remember that Eric Chernak was right-handed. Are you kidding me?
I purposely gave you a picture of Eric Chernak that you couldn't tell which hand he was. So, all right, good try. Good try. You're 6 for 7. Next one, you have.
Good. Yes.
There's Sam O'Reilly, Anthony Sorelli, Jeffrey Viel, and Brandon Hagel.
Okay, Sam O'Reilly and Hagel, Sorelli, and Viel. Okay, so can't be birth year, right? Just cannot be birth year. No way. Nationality most definitely could be Canadians, 100%. Right? Viel's Canadian. They're all Canadian, so it's definitely nationality. But do I get bonus points if I get 2?
You can get bonus points if you get 2, but if you want to try for the bonus points, you're gonna minus if you get it wrong.
Okay. So that's a huge.
But if you just
risk.
get 1, you get a point. You know, so you got to be sure that there's.
I'm gonna go safe then, and I'm gonna go ahead and say nationality.
Nationality would be correct. There isn't a second one. Which one were you going for? Were you going draft round?
I was gonna go draft round, but I don't think they're even close because I'm pretty sure Sam O'Reilly was drafted high, and Brandon Hagel, I don't even know if he was drafted.
He was drafted 6th overall, or 6th round. Sorry,
6th round.
So Sam O'Reilly's a first rounder. Anthony Sorelli's a 3rd rounder. Brandon Hagel's a 6th rounder, and Jeffrey Viel was undrafted. So there's not even 2 similarities, but
not even close.
You got a point, so you're 7 of 8.
7 of 8 right now.
We got Jake Gensel, Braden Point, Anthony Sorelli, Jonas Johansson. What do they have in common?
Not nationality, not handedness. Is it birth year or is it draft round? That is the question. Or is it both? Oh, no. You just told me that, but I wasn't paying attention. We're going to say birth year. Final answer.
Birth year. Final answer. You are unfortunately incorrect. It is draft round.
Dang it.
They are all 3rd round draft picks. So
Okay. Dang it.
All right. You got Gage Gonsalves, Victor Hedman, Connor Geeky, and Emil Lilleberg.
Okay, so not nationality.
Nope.
Could definitely be handedness, not birth year. Draft round is a complete toss-up. I don't think it's draft round. No, we're going to go handedness.
Handedness
Final
is
answer.
correct.
All right.
Nice
All
job.
right.
So that's what, 8 points? 8 out of 10?
I think that was 8 out of 10.
Nice
8 out
job,
of
Tommy.
10.
Yep,
Yeah.
and then we're back to the first one, which is Americans. So
Yes.
nice job. 8 points.
Okay, 8 out of 10. That's not bad. I'm a little bit upset that I forgot Eric Chernak is a right-handed defenseman, but you win some, you lose some. I'm okay with that.
You win some, you lose some. I thought overall it was a good effort. If you played along, send me your score. I got a couple people who sent in scores from our last episode, Tommy, which was a couple weeks ago, but the Brandon Hagel, Anthony Cirelli Guess Who game.
Yep.
Couple people beat you, couple people didn't. The highest score I got was 22 out of 25. So
it's unbelievable.
People really know their Lightning. Hopefully, either way, this game is fun for you. Tommy, let's close out our episodes as we always do. We're gonna draw from the ThunderBucket.
Yes.
I'm
Let's
gonna
do
draw.
it. You got it today.
Yep.
Obviously.
Let's see what our prompt is.
Okay. Let's finish
Today, which current Lightning player outside of the top 6 forward and 2 defensemen deserves a statue outside of Benchmark International Arena?
Ooh, which current Lightning player outside our top 6 forward and our top 2 defensemen? I would guess Vasilevsky is also probably included in that.
Yeah, you can't. Vasilevsky.
Him.
Yep.
Would deserve a trophy.
No, a statue.
A statue. Ooh, okay. I have some ideas. Should I go first, or you got one already?
You can go first. I'm still thinking about mine.
Okay. I'm just going to go with the first thought that came into my head, which is it's got to be a current one. And so we're going to say Yanni Gourde. That Yanni Gourde, my favorite dude, my guy, Yanni, should deserve a statue. I mean, he was on our team, solid part of our team during the cup runs. And when he was on the Kraken, we just missed him so much as part of our team. He just feels like he's part of the core, just like the Kucherovs, the Braden Points, Vasilevskys, So I would say out of all the people, Yanni Gourde deserves a statue. I don't know how big the statue has to be, but he deserves a statue.
Right next to Dave Anderchuk, right?
Yeah, exactly. Something like, I don't know about that, but yeah, maybe something like that.
I'm going the same answer, and I know that's a cop-out, but I do think that's the only correct answer, right?
Really?
Like, in the bottom 6, you can't give it to anybody other than Yanni Gourde, right? That's Gordo. He's been around forever. He's so crucial to our cup runs, and now he's obviously helping us be so much better as a vital piece of that Hounds line. So you have to give it to Yanni Gourde. If I give it to anybody else, I'd be like, that's just wrong. But if you have a different answer, I want to hear you. Make your case for who other bottom 6 player should have a statue outside Benchmark. And as always, if you have a prompt for the ThunderBucket, which we do every single episode, you can submit it up there at the link, or just check the show notes or the link in any of my social medias. It's just a Google form. You can submit a question there. Leave your name so that we can shout you out, and we'll draw next week as well. That's all we got for you. Thank you for watching. Bolts Breakdown exists for Tampa Bay Lightning fans. So if you like the Lightning, if you're part of Bolts Nation, Bolts Breakdown is for you. We'll be back every single week. There's a blog post on Monday. I'm on X. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. Wherever you find, or wherever social medias are, Bolts Breakdown exists, and it is for you as a Lightning fan. Thanks for watching, and go Bolts.
See you next.